The stars had always felt like a promise. Humanity believed that when Earth became too crowded, too fragile, or too restless, there would always be new worlds waiting. For a time, this dream was true. Colonies bloomed on distant planets. Children grew up under different skies. Markets traded goods carried across light years. And humanity felt certain nothing could stop its march among the stars. But then the colonies began to disappear. At first, the silence was blamed on storms or broken relays. Messages sometimes took weeks to arrive across space, so Earth's leaders waited with patience. But patience soon turned to fear. Entire settlements stopped answering. Ships sent to investigate did not return. Trade routes that once carried life and hope now drifted with only emptiness. By the third lost colony, no one could deny the truth. Something was happening in the dark. The United Earth Council called an emergency meeting. In a chamber filled with leaders, scientists, and military officers, the discussion was heavy with silence. No one wanted to speak the words aloud, but they all understood. Humanity was under attack. Captain Rena Holt listened carefully from her seat at the edge of the room. She was not a politician. She was a soldier, chosen for her ability to keep calm when others lost control. Her ship, Resolute, had been built for long missions and quick responses. Now she was being given a mission that carried the weight of Earth's survival. The Council ordered her to investigate. She was to travel to the edge of human space, to the last known colony that had gone silent. There she would find answers if any were left. Rena accepted the task with a steady voice, but inside, she felt the same dread that sat heavy on every heart. Still, duty was clear. Humanity could not remain blind. The Resolute slipped into the black sea of space, its engines humming softly. The crew moved with quiet purpose. They had all heard the rumors. Colonies erased, evidence gone, no survivors. Yet no one complained. Fear lived in them, but so did something stronger: resolve. Lieutenant Arik Voss, the ship's pilot, kept his eyes fixed on the endless dark ahead. "Feels too quiet," he muttered. "Space is always quiet," Rena replied, standing beside him. Her gaze never left the stars, but she knew what he meant. This was not the silence of peace. It was the silence of a predator waiting. Days passed in tense stillness until the colony came into view. Once it had been named New Dawn, a thriving settlement with thousands of people. Now it was a scar across a barren world. The crew stared through the ship's glass as they descended. Cities were reduced to ash. Farms that once stretched green across the land were blackened. Even the orbital platforms that had circled the planet were gone, not just destroyed but vaporized. "It's like someone tried to erase them," whispered Chief Engineer Mara Lynn. Rena nodded slowly. She saw no ruins left to mark history, no debris to tell the story of what had happened. It was as if the colony had never existed at all. They landed near the remains of what had been the central hub. Ash swirled under their boots as the away team moved out. Not even the wind carried sound. The colony was not just dead. It had been deliberately silenced. "Scans show no life signs," said Dr. Keon Hale, the ship's science officer. His voice shook slightly. "Not even bacteria. Something sterilized this entire area." The team searched for hours, moving through empty foundations and scorched metal. Then Mara found something unusual. A shard of material unlike any human design, half buried in the ash. Its surface glowed faintly with energy. Rena knelt, brushing the dust away. "Alien," she said simply. The word chilled the air. Humanity had dreamed of alien contact for centuries, hoping for friends among the stars. But this fragment told another story, of enemies who came not to speak but to erase. Back aboard Resolute, the crew studied the shard. Keon reported that it was a fragment of a weapon. Its energy signature showed precision, not brute force. This was not random destruction. Whoever had attacked knew exactly what they were doing. They didn't just kill, Keon said. They made sure nothing remained. They wanted no trace left behind. The crew fell silent. They all understood the weight of such intent. Rena stood before them, her voice firm. "This was no accident. Someone is hunting us. They are erasing our people from history. And if we do nothing, Earth will be next." The words cut deep, but the crew straightened. Their mission was no longer just investigation. It was survival. Hours later, alarms blared. Resolute had detected movement at the edge of the system. A fleet of ships, massive and sleek, slipped through the darkness. They did not match any human design. Their hulls glimmered like shadows given form, their formation tight and disciplined. The alien fleet was moving toward another colony world. "Too large to fight," Mara said, her voice tight. "If we engage, we'll be destroyed." Rena's jaw clenched as she watched the fleet on the screen. They were hunters, efficient and unrelenting, and humanity was their prey. "Then we don't fight," she said at last. "Not yet. We follow, we learn. If they want to erase us, we'll find out who they are and why." The crew nodded, fear mixing with determination. Resolute slipped into stealth mode, trailing the alien fleet through the void. The hunt had begun. But this time, humanity would not go quietly. And deep in her heart, Captain Rena Holt made a vow. No matter what enemy waited in the dark, Earth would not be erased. The Resolute drifted like a shadow, its engines quiet, following the alien fleet from a safe distance. Every crew member moved with care, speaking in low voices as if the enemy might hear them through the silence of space. On the main screen, the alien ships glimmered with strange energy. Their hulls bent light in odd ways, making them hard to track. They flew with a precision that made even the most disciplined human fleets look clumsy. "They move like one mind," whispered Lieutenant Voss as he adjusted the sensors. Captain Rena Holt stood at his side, her hands folded behind her back. Her eyes stayed fixed on the screen. "Then we must learn how that mind thinks. If we can understand them, maybe we can fight them." No one said what they were all thinking. The enemy did not only destroy, they erased. If Earth fell to them, it would be as if humanity had never been. For 2 days, Resolute trailed the fleet. The crew slept in short shifts, always ready for alarms. The alien ships finally slowed near a star system with a green world circling it. It was a human colony called Haven Reach, home to more than 50,000 people. "Signal from the colony is normal," said Communications Officer Tessa Jorn. "They don't know what's coming." Rena felt the weight of those words. If the aliens struck as they had before, Haven Reach would vanish, and the next colony, and the next, until Earth itself was silent. "We can't fight a fleet this size," Marlin said, her voice tight. "But maybe we can warn them. If Haven Reach has defenses—" "No," Rena interrupted. "If the enemy learns we're here, they'll strike us down before we can help anyone. We need information first. We need to know who they are and why they want us gone." The room fell quiet. No one liked the choice, but all understood it. One mistake could doom not only Haven Reach but also Earth. That night, while the others rested, Rena walked alone in the dim corridors of her ship. She stopped at the observation deck where the stars stretched forever. For years, humanity had dreamed of friends among the stars. They had hoped for wisdom, trade, and peace. Now, staring at the alien fleet, Rena felt only the cold certainty that some beings saw humanity not as partners, but as errors to be erased. Her thoughts were broken by the sound of footsteps. Dr. Keon Hale entered, holding a datapad. "Captain," he said, "I think I've found something." Rena turned. "Show me." Keon brought up an image of the shard they had recovered on New Dawn. I compared its energy readings with the signals coming from those ships. The patterns match. These ships belong to the same builders who destroyed our colonies. And, Keon hesitated, there's more. The energy signature carries a kind of code. I believe it's language, fragments of thought. Rena's eyes narrowed. You mean we can translate it? Not yet. But the fragments I decoded suggest a name, Veyari. The word lingered like a shadow. Humanity had finally learned its enemy's name. The next day, Resolute picked up a distress call. The voice crackled through the speakers, filled with panic. This is Haven Reach. Unknown vessels approaching, our sensors are failing. Then silence. The alien fleet began its attack. On the screen, beams of strange light cut across the sky. Orbital stations fell like burning stars. The colony's defenses fired desperately but were no match for the precision of the Veyari. Whole cities vanished under blasts that left not rubble but empty craters, as if the land itself had been rewritten. Captain, we can't just watch, Voss said, fists tight on the controls. Rena's chest ached as she watched Haven Reach burn, but she forced herself to stay calm. If we die here, Earth dies with us. Hold position. They could not fight the fleet, but they could still save lives. Rena gave the order. Prepare rescue shuttles. Target evacuation zones. Move fast and quiet. Resolute slipped into the chaos, dodging fire and debris. Shuttles darted to the surface, landing where groups of colonists had gathered. Screams and cries filled the air as survivors rushed aboard, carrying children carrying nothing but hope. One shuttle returned with a small group of survivors who looked half dead from fear. Among them was an older man named Darren Core, once a governor of the colony. His eyes burned with anger as he faced Rena. "They didn't just destroy us," he said. "They erased us. Their weapons burned away our history, records, data, everything. It's like they want no one to even remember we existed." Rena exchanged a grim look with Keon. His theories were now confirmed. "They call themselves the Veyari," she told the survivors. "Do you know why they're doing this?" Darren's voice dropped to a whisper. "Because they fear you. They told us in their broadcasts before the attack. They said humans are dangerous, too adaptable, too unpredictable. They called us a mistake that must be corrected." The crew listened in silence, the truth sinking deep. The Veyari were not only destroying human colonies, they were trying to erase humanity's place in the galaxy before it could take root. The battle for Haven Reach ended within hours. When the last shuttle returned, carrying the last few survivors, the colony below was nothing but ash and silence. On the bridge, Mara whispered, "If they keep this up, there will be nothing left. No colonies, no Earth." Rena stood tall, her face hard with resolve. "Then we can't hide. We have to fight. But first we need to know how to win." She looked at the survivors. They had lost everything, but their memories carried something precious, truth. The Veyari could erase buildings, records, even worlds, but they could not yet erase the will of the living. That night, Rena called her crew together. The ship's lights were dim, the mood heavy, but her voice was strong. "We've learned the enemy's name," she said. "We've seen their strength. We know their goal. They want us gone, not just dead, but forgotten. But Earth cannot run. If we run, we'll be hunted until there's nowhere left. The only choice we have is to fight back." Her words settled like fire in the hearts of her crew. They were only one ship against a vast fleet, but their purpose was clear. They would carry the truth to Earth. They would unite humanity. And when the time came, they would strike back. As Resolute left the broken skies of Haven Reach, the alien fleet moved deeper into human space. Rena knew the road ahead would be harder than anything humanity had faced. But she also knew something the Veyari did not. Humans had always been underestimated, and in that underestimation lay humanity's greatest strength. The Resolute returned to Earth scarred but unbroken. Survivors from Haven Reach carried stories of the Veyari, and the Council listened in silence as Captain Rena Holt gave her report. Her words were heavy. "The Veyari are not conquerors. They are erasers. They want us gone not only from space but from history itself. If we do not fight, there will be nothing left of us, not even memory." The council chamber was filled with shock, anger, and fear. For a long time no one spoke. Then slowly voices rose, not in despair but in resolve. Earth could no longer hide behind distance. The enemy had declared humanity a mistake, and mistakes were meant to be corrected. Earth chose to resist. In the weeks that followed, humanity united in a way it never had before. Old rivalries between nations were set aside. Engineers worked day and night, building fleets of ships with whatever resources they could find. Scientists studied the alien shards, searching for weaknesses. Soldiers trained, pilots drilled, and civilians volunteered. But what truly gave humanity strength was not their weapons. It was their unpredictability. The Veyari fought with perfection. Every ship in flawless formation, every strike carefully calculated. Humanity, by contrast, was messy, improvising in the face of chaos, turning weakness into sudden advantage. Captain Rena Holt was chosen to lead the first strike. Her crew, veterans of New Dawn and Haven Reach, knew the enemy better than anyone, and they carried something more powerful than fear. They carried determination. The target was deep in Veyari space, a massive station known as the Memory Vault. According to the survivors' stories and Keon Hale's research, this was where the Veyari stored their records of erased civilizations. If it was destroyed, the Veyari would lose not only their history but their control over the truth. Rena stood before her crew on the bridge. This is not just about survival. This is about memory. If the Veyari succeed, no one will know we ever existed. If we win, our story will live. Earth will not be forgotten. Her words filled the crew with fire. The journey to the Memory Vault was dangerous. Vayari patrols filled the stars, and Resolute had to slip through them with every trick and false signal humanity had learned. Sometimes they faked distress beacons. Other times they used debris to mask their presence. The aliens, so precise, struggled to predict such chaotic tactics. Finally, the Resolute reached its target. The memory vault was a structure the size of a moon, its surface covered in glowing towers and swirling energy fields. Data streams like rivers of light pulsed across its surface. It was beautiful and terrifying. Scans show thousands of ships guarding it, Mara Lynn whispered. We don't have to fight them all, Rena replied. We just need one chance to strike the heart. The plan was desperate. The Resolute would break through the outer defenses, plant a destabilizing device inside the vault's core, and escape, if escape was even possible. The battle began with chaos. Human ships, smaller fleets built by Earth's United Nations, launched attacks across different points of the Vayari border. These strikes were distractions, meant to draw the enemy's attention. Meanwhile, the Resolute sped toward the vault. Enemy fire lit up the darkness, beams of light crossing like blades. The ship shook with every near hit. Sparks flew across the bridge, alarms screamed, but Rena's voice stayed calm. Hold course. Don't break. Voss guided the ship through impossible maneuvers, spinning between blasts, cutting engines at the last second and reigniting them to slip past traps. The Vayari, precise and perfect, could not match such reckless skill. The Resolute broke through. Inside the vault, the crew found a vast chamber filled with crystalline structures humming with power. Each crystal glowed with faint images, cities, faces, worlds, all erased civilizations stored like trophies. Humanity would have been next. Dr. Keon stared in awe. So many all forgotten. This is their true weapon, not their fleet. They decide who is remembered and who is erased. Rena set her jaw. Then let's remind them we exist. The crew planted the device at the core. Its timer began to count down, but as they turned to leave, alarms roared across the station. Vayari ships closed in. Escape would not be simple. The Resolute fought its way back to the surface. Hull plates burned, systems failed, and the crew struggled to keep the ship alive. On the main screen, the enemy fleet closed in from all sides. Mara shouted, "We won't make it out in time." Rena looked at the timer. 10 minutes remained before detonation. She knew the truth then. Someone had to stay behind to ensure the device went off. She turned to her crew, her voice steady. You've done enough. Humanity needs you alive. Take the shuttles. Get clear. No, Captain, Voss protested. We won't leave you. You must, Rena said firmly. The ship was built for one purpose, to endure until the end. And this is the end. For a moment, silence filled the bridge. Then slowly the crew obeyed. Tears filled eyes, but they moved with discipline, boarding the escape shuttles. One by one, they launched into the void, leaving the Resolute behind. Rena sat alone on the bridge, watching the enemy fleet close in. Her hand rested on the controls, but her mind was calm. Humanity would live. That was enough. The timer reached 0. The memory vault erupted in a blinding wave of light. Energy tore through the station, shattering its towers and scattering fragments across the stars. Vayari ships were caught in the blast, thrown into chaos. And with that explosion, every erased memory, every hidden truth, scattered into the galaxy like sparks on the wind. No longer controlled. No longer silent. Days later, the survivors of Resolute returned to Earth. They carried the story of Captain Rena Holt, who had given everything to protect humanity's memory. They carried proof that the Vayari were not invincible. Across the galaxy, signals of lost civilizations began to appear, fragments the Vayari could no longer hide. Humanity's name was among them, carried far and wide. The Vayari retreated, their perfect control broken. They had feared humanity's adaptability, and now they understood why. Humanity could not be erased because humans carried memory in their hearts, not only in their machines. On Earth, as the people rebuilt and prepared for whatever came next, the message was clear. We endure. We remember. We are here to stay. And among the stars, for the first time, humanity's voice echoed not in whispers but in thunder.